Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Wednesday Wisdom. My name is JB Hilliard and these are short video snippets designed to answer questions you may have about estate planning or probate, or maybe there are other legal concerns that may be impacting your household, and so we're here to provide those short answers to those short questions. For this week, we're back to Sarah, my favorite avatar client, Sarah and her bakery. And at this point, Sarah is kind of torn between, she's still trying to determine the best route to take for her business succession planning, and as far as her bakery is concerned, who's going to take over the reins after she passes away. And so right now she's at a crossroads where she, if she thinks about or wants to give this to her daughter Emma, then she wants to go in one direction, and if she gives it to her employee Mike, she wants to go in another direction. And so with Mike, we're looking at setting up a buy-sell agreement, and with Emma, we're looking at setting up a trust to pass on the bakery. And so I, of course, don't have time to talk about both of those in any level of detail in one video. So let's focus this week on Sarah passing it to Emma, her daughter, via a trust. And what this does is, if Emma just left the bakery to, if Sarah just left the bakery to Emma via her will, then that whole succession transfer of ownership wouldn't happen until the will is probated, and that can be a long process. That could be a costly process. So with a trust, it avoids the probate process for that particular asset, and this is something that I have to explain to my clients seemingly more often than not. Just having a trust does not mean your estate bypasses the probate process altogether. The assets that are in the trust and the provisions that are in the trust are what will avoid probate. Not that probate is not needed for your estate administration. Let's say there are some debts that need to be resolved or paid or settled, or there are other assets outside of the trust or other beneficiaries outside of the trust that you want to take care of with your estate assets. So just merely having a trust does not automatically avoid probate. I cannot emphasize that enough. So with that said, Sarah understands that because she has a lawyer who takes the time to explain this to her through their conversations and strategy sessions. And so she decides that she wants to set up a revocable living trust in order to transfer the bakery to her daughter Emma. Now, a revocable trust is just that. The revocable part of the name means that while Sarah is still living and competent, she can make changes to this trust. She can change her mind altogether until such point as she passes away, and then it automatically becomes an irrevocable classification. But for the meantime, for the current time, she is looking seriously at establishing this trust so that the transition is much more smooth, much shorter, much more cost effective to get that transfer over to her daughter Emma to take over the reins. And it's not that Emma doesn't necessarily have to wait. There could be provisions in that trust or built in where Emma takes over the ownership per se, or the ownership duties, I'll say, long before Sarah passes away, so that the transition is even that much more easy for Emma to take over. So with that said, that's the teaser for the next time we get together and talk about Mike and the buy-sell agreement that they're going to have for the bakery. So we'll see which way Sarah goes. This is, as you can see, this is not an easy decision to make. It's not an overnight just sign on the dotted line decision that you should make. There should be some careful thought and consideration put into this process. If you're in a position where you own your own business and you're looking at who's going to take over the reins after you're no longer able to run things. So again, with that said, as always, I thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.